So I've had this Universal Audio aux for about a year now. I bought it used, and honestly, this has been one of the best gear purchases I've ever made. It's really changed how I think about my amps, how I think about how I'm going to integrate guitar tone into projects, into just solo playing, just playing by myself and trying to be inspired as I'm playing guitar. And it's been great, just stock. And then some people discovered that there is a line in, a female RCA in here, and you can see I have the jack already installed. So before I get into that, I just wanted to make a video because I hadn't seen anybody make a video that demoed sounds from this, talked about their experience, ways of utilizing the line in on the aux. So I kind of wanted to do that. All right, so there's my jack. Here's the silver face of it, the silver side of the face, not the brown. And then you have, there's the jack. And then in the third vent in here, you can see that there is a female RCA, and I've got the male RCA cable plugged into it. I just got what seemed like a very sturdy RCA cable, and I wired it to the jack and put the jack on the chassis. One of my biggest difficulties with doing this was getting this actual chassis off. And just so you know, you do void the warranty if you take this chassis off and access that little guy in there. This whole wrap, it's like a metal wrapped chassis, comes off. The bottom stays, this stays, and this stays. And then this thing slides off, stopping here, right? So that was actually very difficult to slide off. And the way I got around that, that you might find helpful if you're going to do this, is some deoxit. So deoxit is very safe for electronics and for connections. That's what it's made for. And it acts as a lubricant as well. So I sprayed it on the inside of these, just these kind of crevices in here and on here, and that really helped me to just slide it off. And then I wired up the jack, drilled the chassis away from it, and the reason I didn't opt to put the jack back here is drilling into this, which would be easy enough. I was really nervous about getting metal filings that might fall into the circuit board and then short something out. I just really didn't want that to happen, so I just drilled through the chassis far away from the actual aux and did it that way. That was kind of tough to figure out how I was going to slide it back over and still have enough room to get this thing installed, but it wasn't too hard. So if you have questions about that whole thing, please let me know. But we're going to get into some sounds. If you're into these kind of videos, please like, subscribe, and comment. All that interaction really helps to keep me higher on the algorithms for YouTube and helps to keep me making these videos. I might do a couple different videos with this. First, I just want to do a general demo of what I'm doing with it and how I'm kind of utilizing it, but then do a couple different videos so you can hear how pedals sound through it, maybe so you can hear how drums or vocals sound through it, just to give you an idea, because I really would have loved, before I dove into this, if somebody had posted any videos of how they're using it and if it was worth it to do. I'm kind of a tinkerer, so I didn't have that much fear to overcome, but I imagine if some people are kind of on the fence about it, they might not do it if they don't know how it sounds. So hopefully this is helpful. I've got a table of contents down there. You can search around the video and see what you want, and let me know what you think. So here's another view of that RCA jack that's in there. You can just see my cable running straight into it with the orange housing. And then some quick shots of the RCA cable with the leads all spliced and everything, and soldered into the jack. Okay, so the way I'm running this, my guitar is going straight into the splitter. The splitter can go either to my Deluxe reverb, or I can go through the pedals. The pedals are going straight into my interface, Universal Audio Apollo, and I'm just running the normal preamp on there. There's no plug-in preamp. And if I want to hear the pedal as they are, I'll turn on one of the cabs, and here's the pedal as it is. And if I want to hear the aux, like the pedal through the aux, I turn off the cab on there and just unmute it, and I've got the aux. So that's the basic signal path. I can turn on the Woodrow. That's right through the aux, or the Ruby. So that's the reason I love using several pedals through the aux, because everything sounds like it's coming from the same place, but you can get different sounds with that same cab. If I run it through the pedals, then I get this kind of thing. Right? It's way different. I mean, this is probably better here. And then so I find it much more helpful to just run everything without a cab and run through the aux so that everything's just running through the same cab. So one thing about the pedals that I just wish I had more control over, other than just using the treble, is some of the attack and some of the brightness. And again, the aux really helps control that. Like with this speaker drive knob, if we've got it all the way to the right, that's going to be emulating like an aged speaker. So it's a little bit more mushy. So you have like, and then if I bring it all the way to the left, this is going to be like a newer speaker. You can just hear in the attack. The attack just has a more soft, rounded edge to it when you have this all the way over to the right. So if you're getting like really kind of just ear-piercing treble, you can use this to kind of tame some of your attack. And it's just a really nice feature that if I turn down the treble on this, it just kind of gets too bassy. So it's worth mentioning, when I'm going into the UA Apollo, the reason I'm going into that and not just going straight from the pedals into the aux is that it's a line in, and technically these are line outs. They have enough to drive most line inputs, but when you plug these right into the aux, it's really noisy. It's you just get, your noise floor is too high. So it obviously just needs a little bit of a preamp before going into the aux. So like I said, there's nothing special about the preamps that I'm using in the UA. I just like using that because I can either monitor the pedals as they are or send it out through the aux and then hear it that way. You could really use any preamp as long as it's a decent sounding preamp. So I really wanted to showcase not only how this sounds through the aux with the cab off versus how it sounds with its own cab, but I also wanted to show how this thing sounds through the aux versus how the Deluxe Reverb sounds through the aux. So this is the Dream 65 through the aux. Versus the Deluxe Reverb. You can hear a difference in the reverb tails, right? But if I kill the reverb on both of these, so, I mean, that's just trying to get somewhat the same sound between these two, which I really think you can do. You get different character with the reverb, like I said, and different character in the treble. The bass is similar, but one of the really cool things is if you run the Dream 65 kind of at like a just breaking up. Versus kind of a seamless, it sounds like the same amp just with different gain settings. I know you could probably do that with this, but I don't know, it's really nice to have different reverb tails, just have a totally different side of that same character between the Dream and the Deluxe Reverb. So it's really fun going back and forth between the two. So one of the coolest things about the aux is that you can use a foot switch like this to turn on and off effects. So for instance, like this compressor, I have it hooked up to Footswitch A. So if I hit that, it turns it on, turns it off. So this is with the without the compressor. Whoops. This is without the compressor. This is with it. Right, so you can get some really nice boost sounds. It has a volume control, of course, output, so you can have your volume be the same, but just a more compressed sound, or you can treat it like I've done and have it as a boost. If you're, like I have the delay and this reverb running into B. So if I'm playing, let's kill the dream reverb for a second. Okay, and then B, here's a reverb on. And then as far as other reverbs, like if here's our, I have my room reverb. That's the room reverb totally off, all the way up. Right? Or it's kind of nice somewhere in the middle. This is. And then of course with the aux you can, this channel is basically a ribbon 160 on this cabinet, and we can take a look at what cabinet we're using. So you just have so many choices of cabinets, so many different things you can do. Whereas with the pedals, it's nice having the 6 cabinets, but they're basically set as they are. You can EQ them coming out of there, I guess, but there's kind of a limited amount of sounds you can get from these pedals as far as the cabinets go. All right, so I hope that's a good overview for you if you have a pedal like this and you're looking to stretch out a little bit and get some different cabinet sounds. These are great cabs, but I just do find them a little bit limiting, and the aux, you just have, the sky's the limit. You can really do so much with it. So I want to do a couple other videos where I show how you can run tracks in Logic through the aux. You can run some of your amp plugins in the Apollo through the aux if you, because a lot of times those amp plugins sound great, but I'm just not crazy about the cabinet. So just running it right through the aux and back in, you have a cabinet that you're used to using. It's awesome. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.